Now we're going to go a little more free form, so it's going to be really exciting with the microphone for these next two questions. So one is possibly more for teachers, and the other one is really very general, and you can respond in any way you like, and we've got 10 good minutes here. So for teachers, how do you guys choose which experiences to take advantage of with your students? Now, obviously, you have very strong ties to one organization or another, but as you're looking at all of the choices, what draws you to one or two or the 12 that you go to each year? And how can we encourage, and this is for everyone and something we're all thinking about, how can we encourage more teachers to take advantage of community cultural experiences?
Maybe I'd like to start with that. Sometimes you have to take a risk as a teacher too, and I'm very, very comfortable at the Ringling Museum. I work there. I mean, I'm very, very comfortable there, and I'd like taking my students there. But we had a need at our school last year. We had to address science more directly across the curriculum, and we were trying to improve our science performance with our school improvement plan. And so there was a need there, and as part of my personal professional development plan, I wanted to purposefully use art to connect to science. So going outside of my comfort zone, I wrote a grant to take all of our 4th and 5th graders to Selby Gardens, and that was scary for me. And I got the grant, which means I had to do it. And the whole intent of the grant was to see Selby as an artist and as a scientist. That's how I wrote the title. And the students were challenged to work with the Selby educator to dissect flowers and use the correct scientific terminology, and then transfer that. I split the groups in half. 2 classes a day. 1 class would be in the lab and 1 class would be out with me in the gardens, and they were sketching using scientific observation skills. And they had to make notes like a scientist on their drawings, like botanical drawings. And then they switched groups and they got to do back and forth. And then we toured the garden. Then we came back, and it was intended to be purely an aesthetic experience where the students were prepared and looked at impressionist paintings and talked about plein air painting, and we looked at reproductions, and then we hauled the watercolors out and we sat down on the ground and we painted. So it was different, really, really different. The parents who came as volunteers were astounded at what their students were able to produce and how engaged they were. And one parent wrote me over the summer and said, "My son's still drawing flowers, still drawing like a scientist." But what is most rewarding is that our science scores went up. Now, I'm not saying it's because of that field trip, but I'm saying the whole school saw a need, and we were all connecting outside of our comfort zone, doing different things. And I'm excited about how that worked for me, because I took a risk, and this time it worked. And that made me more willing to take a risk this year. So we're going to go to Moat.
Well, I'll just jump in and agree with Debbie right there. I believe the reason why I choose which experiences my students are a part of is seeing a need. And with my 4th and 5th graders and going to the Sarasota Orchestra, 5th graders, they're going into middle school. They're going to have the opportunity of orchestra, band, and chorus, and so on and so forth. And like Lori White shared just earlier today, going to the orchestra, seeing that violin gave her that feeling, oh, I want to learn to play the violin. And I really like working with my 4th and 5th graders during the school year, prepping them, studying the families of instruments, figuring out what instrument they're interested in and why, and really getting to know their interests. And then when they go in April to the Van Wezel, which for many children, that is the one opportunity that they get to go and sit and enjoy and soak it all in and enjoy being a part of an audience. And many times we come back to the music classroom next time I see them and we talk about, okay, what did you see? What did you hear? What instrument are you interested in starting in middle school? So I liked making that connection, especially for my fifth graders, to really challenge them and say, okay, you're going into middle school. You need to be ready. You need to already know what instrument you're interested in, if you're interested in chorus or orchestra, band. And so for me, that's one of the reasons why I love going to Sarasota Orchestra.
My connection started because I actually teach high school, and I teach a Holocaust elective, and we talk about diversity and acceptance every day. And so when the Embracing Our Differences came along, it was a great opportunity. What I would recommend is the first thing you want to do is, of course, tie it to the curriculum. But as we learned today with the focus calendars, everything has everything. You know, everything has math, everything has writing, everything has social studies, everything has science. So if you do choose to write curriculum, I would suggest that you go with the 4 core classes and try to connect whatever organization you are to them. Another suggestion I would make, and if anybody is a teacher in here besides us, our favorite word is easy, okay? And our second favorite word is cheap. Now. Stop that. We are not cheap and easy. But easy is because, as was mentioned before, we are so overwhelmed in the classroom with a lot of demanding things. And when somebody hands me a PowerPoint or a flip chart and here's some package and here's how you do it, and oh my gosh, okay, let's go. And it's very easy. And then, of course, cheap is, especially now with the budget cuts that have happened in Sarasota County to education, use your resources as Mr. Shelton has done. You know, expand the bus to 3 different places, or write grants. You know, teachers can write grants. Your organization can write grants. And that would be my suggestion. Did I answer all your questions?
And I have another E word that I use. I like to do, well, actually it's a U word, the unexpected. I don't want to be doing the expected. I like to give my kids the unexpected experience. So I look for ways that we can look at the average, the ordinary, and make it above average and extraordinary. And that becomes more memorable. When Ms. White was saying earlier today about that memorable experience, usually there was a little bit of discomfort. There was something that was unexpected. And when you, as Deb said earlier, step outside your comfort zone becomes bigger. So then you can take another step, another step, another step. And if kids can early on get comfortable with stepping outside their comfort zone, then, you know, as they get older, their comfort zone is already quite large, and they're comfortable with stepping outside their comfort zone. So that's how I choose the experiences that I offer to my students.
I'll hit that one very briefly. For the teachers and administrators in the room, talk to us. We want to know. We're here to help you. We have to know what your kids are really struggling with, or what your theme for the next school year might be. We will do our best to incorporate that into our programs. On the other side of that too, we really try to keep our cost as low as possible to everybody, but most of our programs are very expensive to do. On that side, let us know too. You know, if you really want to come and your school really can't afford it, we don't mind writing the grants to get it out there, but we want to make those ties. And like last year, we did an Olympic theme that got all of the classrooms involved, the classroom teachers, the music teachers, everybody. We just want to know what's happening in your classrooms. So we want you to come to our venues, but we want to help you. We want it to be an engaging experience. You just got to let us know if we send out a survey or something. Don't be afraid to tell us the truth. You know, don't sugarcoat it for us. If we're missing something or we want to include something, just let us know.
A couple things that I think work really, kind of core ideas that have worked really well. One is we actually take our exhibit to the school. We send it to Northport every year for a month, and that's been an amazing marketing tool for us. We've also used, we do extensive surveys and analysis. We actually, every year, we hire an outcome measurements consultant who comes in and analyzes their program. They work with the teachers, there's surveys, questionnaires, they select teachers and go into the classrooms and collect data. And every year we get a very nice report back, and that's our validation. And it's a great way to show to the teachers, as we share it with everybody who'll take time to read it, that if you go through this, we can prove to you that it is a program of quality. And then Carol kind of stole a couple of my words earlier, but the three that I wrote down is that if it's a quality program, if it's an easy program, when I say easy, it's easy for the teachers. We know that you guys have more than is reasonable to expect from you, and so the more easy we make it for you, the more turnkey that we make it for you, the more likely you are to participate in it. And then, as mentioned earlier, cheap. We can't get much cheaper than ours. We pay for everything for it. I've also found that raising money to pay for our buses is the easiest thing that we can do in terms of raising money. I also tend to sell the buses 6 and 7 times, but it works. And so if you give the teachers the tools and you give them a quality tool, we found that they're going to take it. And every single year we have double-digit increases.
Along with that, we also have a variety of programs that we offer. And with all the changes and budget cuts that have been happening in the last couple years, our 2 funded programs are the ones that, of course, are most popular. That covers admission to the workshop and the labs that we do, as well as reimbursement for bus costs. And with our educator evening that we had last week, we put out to the teachers that we have availability again this year to do these water workshops, and they were gone within 3 days. And I have probably 10 schools on the waiting list now looking for ways to come and take advantage of these programs. And I do it as easily as possible as I can for the teachers. I take care of all the arrangements so that all they have to do is tell me the date and the number of children, and I take care of everything else because I know how overwhelmed they are with everything.
We're just real.
No, I meant to. There's a Target Corporation. For those of you who don't know, Target Corporation offers field trip money, up to $700 per teacher. And I went on and looked at it. You have to be a teacher to apply. I can't apply, but you can. Last year, they gave 1 grant in Sarasota County for it. You look at the other surrounding counties, and they give tons of them.
And that is another piece. And let me be that helpful communication piece. If you're looking for teachers that might need a good, you need a good recommendation of someone. If I don't know it, if you need someone that works in, social studies, I'll send you to Bernadette, kind of like where Michael went. She is busy. I know how to at least get you to the right person, and I can help you communicate with those teachers. And you even can, with the teachers you work with, recommend those grants. I know we're not emphasizing the teacher piece right now. I just wanted you to hear some perspective, but tell them about those grants too. I want to thank our panel for all of their insights, and wish we could take some questions, but we're in our wrap-up stage. This day has gone so quickly. So let's thank our panel for today.